when you're watching Toy Story. That's right. I thought it might be cool to review some of the Pixar movies. Keyword here is some, because some are good and some of them are not as good. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of review a couple of these. And because I know Toy Story 5 is pretty, like, it's kind of hot right now, or like they just released a trailer for it. They're bringing back a lot of key cast members and stuff like that. I thought it might be interesting to talk about the first one at least and the first few of them because I myself am not a particular fan of the newer Toy Stories. But, anyways, let's continue with Toy Story 1. I mean, what can you say about this movie that hasn't been said before? A true classic story of two toys fighting for their owner, basically. You know what I'm saying? I think that this movie is really. It just has everything in it. It's charming, it's funny, it has it has a good sense of friendship and coming together. It's really some of a I mean Pixar's first movie, I'm pretty sure. For the time that it was created or developed, you know what they could do? You know what would be really interesting is if they went back and remastered this. I mean, obviously it's like a product of its time, and maybe that's kind of what gives it its kind of maybe that's what gives it a little bit of its charm. You know what I'm saying? But I think it'd be really cool if they reanimated this one, just because their certain technology has improved, and I don't know. I think it would have a cooler. It might have a really cool look to it if they, you know, changed it or if they remastered it with better, maybe some better visuals. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, it's not necessary. But man, this movie. I remember the first time I like really watched it. Like this movie sunk in, and I think I think it just was like at some point in your life, you know what I mean? When you watch these kinds of Pixar movies or when they advertise or they become like something so personal to you that it's like it becomes your whole personality and everything, you know? I was obsessed with Woody. I was obsessed with Buzz Lightyear. I was obsessed with Mr. Potato Head and all of the characters and the toys involved. That was just the time that I really enjoyed, you know. There wasn't as much. I mean, there were phones and there was technology, but I still like played with toys on a daily basis and mostly stuffed animals. But you know what I mean? Is that like toys became were kind of like that was my world, and having Woody and having Buzz Lightyear, like all of that was so cool to me, and I really enjoyed playing with them because I could just like reenact scenes from the movie and just like watch it side by side with them and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was really cool. To me, that was really cool. To me, it was really important. And compared to, I guess, I don't know, maybe as I got older, much like Andy does in the third one, but we're mostly talking about the first one. The first one, I mean, where do I even start? Okay, we see a kid. I guess I don't remember if he recently moved or not, or if he was doing his party before he moved or something. No. The move is like after this. Sorry, my fault. My fault. Okay, Woody is kind of the it toy. He's Andy's favorite toy, and then Buzz Lightyear comes onto the scene and he becomes the new it toy. He becomes Andy's favorite toy. And Woody feels a lot of resentment towards Buzz because he's like, hey, he's supposed to be. I was here first. I was his favorite. And now you're supposed to be the favorite? Come on. Like, that makes no sense. So after all of that, they fight, they wrestle, you know, they have an out with each other. They really become their enemies, you know what I'm saying? But then forces beyond their control, you know, either through Woody's, you know, terrible choices and Buzz's like need for revenge. They get abandoned or lost by Andy. They become lost toys. They are no longer protected under the guise of like they're no longer sheltered by Andy. So now it's up to the two of them to try to make it back home before Andy and his whole family moves. And so one thing leads to another, and Woody and Buzz end up getting taken to the next door neighbor of Andy, who is Sid, who is without a doubt the craziest. Like he is bizarre. He just abuses toys. Okay, he blows them up. He hurts them. He destroys them and whatnot. Like it's not good. So when Woody and Buzz Lightyear are basically like, what's it called? Taken in by him after he wins them in a crane. It's like a crane game, and he gets taken by Sid. They're all sort of well, let's just say he takes him over to his house, okay? Now, the trick is how do they escape? They have to escape from basically the asylum that is Sid's house and then make it back over to Andy's and then survive. You know what I mean? Make it to the next day. All in the meanwhile, Buzz is having an existential crisis, realizing he isn't this space ranger that he's like believed himself to be for so long. He realizes that he's just a toy. You know, because he has like this kind of set internal programming, if you will, that like he's supposed to whatchamacallit. He's supposed to defeat Emperor Zurg and save the galaxy and all this other stuff. But it turns out that Woody knocks the sense into him and makes him realize that like, hey, you know, you're just a toy. You're a child's plaything, you know? And the two go back and forth. And while Buzz is having this existential crisis, while he's having a breakdown, a mental breakdown, Woody is trying to escape. He's trying to save Buzz, and he's trying to get everybody over to Andy's house so that they can be loved again and cherished by an owner. So Buzz is now he loses an arm, I think. And Woody kind of like tries to fix him up, but doesn't fix him up, and then the other toys try to help them out and stuff. So basically, Buzz is on a Sid is kind of he wants to blow up Buzz, basically. He's saying to himself like, "Oh man, like I want to blow up something." And he decides if I send a spaceman into space using a rocket, he'll blow up, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the cool part. So Sid is kind of puts a timer on everybody. Woody is now on a set timer to save Buzz and have him not blow up in a rocket. So then Buzz and Woody are now in a place where they can connect, where Buzz is at his lowest and Woody is so desperate and he really needs to, how do I survive this? How do I get out of here? How do I get the thing that I want? You know, not just for me, but for both of us now. And there's a sense, and there's now camaraderie between them. There's openness, there's connection, real friendship of I'm here for you, hopefully you can be here for me and whatnot. And Buzz and Woody save each other. Woody saves Buzz and Buzz saves Woody. And they have a real heart to heart. They have a real a moment where they're both like trapped, where Buzz is like no longer interested and Woody is finally revealing like his weaknesses to Buzz, where he's able to tell him that like I hated you, you know what I mean? Like it bothered me that somebody like you came into my world and just took everything away from me, you know? And I feel a level of shame of myself for like wanting something all for me, you know? And when things weren't going my way, I took it out on you. And you're the cool toy, and I'm just the old toy. I'm the outdated model, and you're the shiny new car, the shiny new thing, you know? You're the cool thing now. And instead of embracing you or really like just accepting where I was in the hierarchy of Andy's toys, I had to be mean to you or try to get rid of you and all these other things. And he actually like talks down on himself saying that it's all my fault, you know, and the reason why you're going to get blown up in that rocket and Andy's going to move on and forget all about us and we're going to be abandoned for the rest of our lives is because of me and my choices and my mistakes and my own, you know, ego and pride and stuff like that. And why does Andy even want a toy like me when he has somebody like you? And then Buzz kind of feels that connection. He kind of feels like, wow, you know, this guy is finally being honest. He's finally telling me his, letting it all loose, you know, letting it all out. The real story comes out is that he has a doubt of his own self-worth as a toy. And he feels like if he could just get back to Andy and get back to the room and get back to being his favorite or being a toy to be played with, things would go very well. Things would be different, you know, for both of them. And in that moment, Buzz kind of like, he feels it and he understands it. And he's like, in the same way that he cares about Star Command, in the same way that, you know, even though it's all unreal, even though it's something that was concocted by the whoever created the toy, who invented the toy and whatnot, like, still, there's something there. You know what I'm saying? There's still something that he can connect with, something that he can understand. And he finally, like, is open to the idea of being a toy. Not just, you know, not just being a space ranger or being what he wants. He can be something that's also really cool. And that's just a toy, you know? And that's the part that I think gets Buzz, is that it's not cool to be the quote unquote space ranger that he's trying to be or wants to be. It's cool when he makes like a kid smile, or when Andy is happy and actually plays with him and flies him around the room and helps him out and stuff like that, you know? Things that somebody else really enjoys. And he's not really seeing the joy in being a toy. He's seeing a higher duty of himself, and he can't look past it. So when Woody finally breaks him down, when he finally reveals to him in that moment of, when he finally self-deprecates him, I mean, like, he kind of just like lets it all out. He's able to really express his feelings to Buzz. Buzz is then like renewed. He's back. He's like, we got to get you back over to that house, you know? We have to get back to Woody. We have to do this because that's real. You know? It's real how that kid feels about us. It's real that he appreciates and that he likes us. It's real that we can bring joy to this kid. Space Command and us being, you know, all of the things that we kind of fictionalize or have up in our head. It's not real. It's not real. What's real is, you know, that kid and how we can best help him out. Whether it's entertainment, playtime, joy, all of that. It's about him, you know? So now they have to get over there. But Buzz is still strapped to a rocket, and Sid still wants to blow him up. And Woody is trapped, but they free him, and now he needs to figure out how to save Buzz. Because Sid wakes up and he's like, oh, snap, yeah, I gotta blow up my spaceman toy. And then Woody's kind of like, darn it, like, what do I do? How do I save the day in here? And he puts together a plan with the other messed up toys that Sid has basically ruined. You know what I'm saying? Like he cuts the head off a baby doll and puts it on like spider mechanical arms and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's done some pretty messed up stuff to toys, and they've been mutated and changed, but they can really be of use to Woody in this moment. And so Woody p- launches a plan against Sid, and that's when the whole thing comes undone. And it's a brilliant plan, and Woody starts uh what's it called? He gets up, he talks to Sid. He reveals that toys are alive, and they freak Sid out to the point where he runs away. Um Woody and Buzz are just barely able to catch up to the car in time, but you know, they're not fast enough. They can't hold on forever. But then the other toys in the moving truck help them out. They help out Woody and Buzz. So they send RC out there, and Woody and Buzz hop on RC and they start racing to the car. They start trying to catch up with it. And it's a really cool sequence, the driving and the like chasing montage. Oh, that's see, those are the little moments that they added. That's that sauce that they throw in there that you're like, oh my goodness, how did they create this? Like, this is brilliant. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those little tidbits that you can't help but appreciate and be like, you know what they could have done here if they were like, obviously in today's animation, cycle, I think they would have done a lot more with the chase scene, but this one was very straight shot, pretty simplistic, I would say. But it was really cool, the size difference that they use with like the small toys going under cars and like swerving and dodging obstacles and stuff like that is really cool. Anyways, um, RC is now running low on battery as they're trying to like catch up to the truck, and unfortunately, they they miss it. RC is dead out of battery. They no longer have anything to catch up to the car with, and then Woody realizes that he still has the match in his like gun belt, and so he's like, I can light up the rocket and we can catch up to the truck. Let's go. So then he tries to like light the match and then hit the rocket, like the little, what's it called, the string or whatever. He tries to light it, and then a car whizzes by, and then it blows out the light. He's like, no, 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 no. And so then Buzz and Woody are kind of sitting there like at a loss. They're like, we lost. We couldn't catch up to them, and now we're lost forever. But then Buzz's like plastic helmet, like glass or whatever, it reflects off the sun and it hits Woody's hand that Sid kind of did earlier with the magnifying glass, and he realizes that the heat from that can spark up the rocket. So then Woody comes up with a brilliant idea. Another example of how they show like the intelligence of Woody and how their experiences really come to help them. And so Woody realizes he can light the rocket with the sun by magnifying it with Buzz's helmet, and he lights up the rocket and he goes like, "We're going home." And then Buzz is like, "Woohoo, yeah!" And then Woody's like, "Hold on a second, I just lit a rocket. Rockets explode!" And then boom, straight through. It's a whoosh, and they start going towards the truck at a lightning speed, at a rocket speed here. And Woody's holding on to RC, Buzz is holding on to Woody, and then, they catch up to the truck, but they drop RC and it hits Mr. Potato Head and stuff. Good comedy bit, you know what I mean? A little physical comedy. A little pain never hurt anybody. And then, because they're in the rocket, like, Buzz and Woody are lifted up to the sky, and then Buzz Woody's kind of like, oh snap, this is the part where we blow up. And then Buzz, I mean, it's pretty, I want to say cheesy, but it's just classic at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just beautiful. Not today. And then he hits his, like, wing button to, like, extend out his wings, and it breaks through the duct tape, and the rocket goes up into the sky, it explodes, and then Buzz and Woody start falling, and Woody's like, ah, oh no, they're gonna fall and they're gonna hit the ground because Buzz can't fly. That's part of the reason he realized that he had his existential crisis, is that like he can't fly. He's just a toy. There's no jetpack, propeller, nothing. It's just him and some plastic wings. And then so they're falling down, and Woody's closing his eyes, and he's like, ah, we're dying. And then, as if a bird finally learns how to fly, Buzz and Woody soar up back into frame, and it's Buzz and Woody flying in the air to the truck. And Woody's like, what the? Oh my gosh, Buzz, you're flying! And Buzz says, this isn't flying, this is falling with style. Dude, and I tell you, every single time, that brings a smile to anyone's face. I don't care who you are, what you're doing in your life. Like, that movie brings a smile. It's honestly hype before, hype was a real thing. Like, that is just, I guarantee you, if that movie was released today, people would be in the theaters cheering. People would, you know what I mean? Like, it would be a huge moment. It would just be like, whoa! Oh my God. I mean, you could do that today and people would cheer for it. Like, that's the moment that it's all about. And so they're flying in the sky and Woody's laughing, having a good old time. And they finally catch up to the truck. And Woody's like, hold on, Buzz, you missed the truck. And Buzz is like, we're not going for the truck. We're going to Andy. And so they pull up to the car, and then Buzz tucks back in his wings, and they land through the sunroof into Andy's box or whatever. And Andy's kind of like, whoa, Buzz, Woody, they're back. And then now we see the appreciation that Andy has, or you know what I'm saying? Like, Andy loves both of these toys. You know what I'm saying? One, because Buzz is a really cool toy, right? It's a really cool toy, and then Woody, because it's one of his oldest toys. You know, it means a lot to him. So now, finally together, finally friendships united, finally everybody's back in it, and everything's all happy and dandy. And so then we see them at the new house. It's Christmas time, which means maybe new toys. And Buzz and Woody are having a laugh with each other. They're just like, "Oh man, what if we get a new toy?" You know what I'm saying? And Buzz and Woody are having a little moment, like, "Oh, what could be worse than you, Buzz Lightyear?" You know what I'm saying? Having a little back and forth. And then Andy opens one of his presents, and it's a puppy. And then and that's where the movie ends. And oh my goodness. I mean, I missed a lot of, important details, you know what I mean? And important scenes and moments, like, obviously Buzz and Woody's first meeting, how, they first started kind of like butting heads or whatnot, or being in each other's way and stuff. And then, yeah, there were just a bunch of scenes in the movie that I obviously didn't cover, but I feel like at the core of the movie, it's just two people who are going through changes, you know what I mean? Both of them are really going through it, and it's kind of cool the way that they incorporate it into like toys. It's not human beings, they're toys, they're playthings, you know what I'm saying? And yet they put a real human quality to it. It's classic. That's the only word you can use to describe this movie. It's a classic, hands down one of the best Pixar movies. Not the best, but one of, and definitely gets a top spot because of it being like the first one. definitely a top tier movie. And just in general, for the animation space, like, what a great milestone, a great movie, true classic. I mean, I I just feel like this movie is like it really has some oomph to it, and you only truly appreciate it once. I mean, you appreciate it at any age, you know. You enjoy it as a kid because of the toys. You enjoy it as an adult because of the themes and the story and the like. You know what I'm saying? The dialogue, the acting by Tom Hanks, Tim Allen. Everybody in this movie does a great job, and it's fun. It's cool. It's really, it's really how it's a all around good feeling movie. It's a classic. There's no other way to describe it. It's truly one of the pioneers of animation and for movies and for doing what will eventually be animation is now and what Pixar is doing now and how much better they're getting every single time and how they're able to make things look so fluid and great, you know, now in the digital space. And I just, you know, I think this movie is one of the best. And I mean, I guess a lot of people could say that, you know what I mean? But when you're talking about gold, what else can you say other than it's pure gold? You know what I'm saying? It's amazing, and I love this movie. Anybody with a brain and a heart would love this movie too, and there's just true deep connection with it, and yeah, it's one of the best to ever do it. So, anyways, that's Toy Story. Yeah, true classic. Nothing else to be said. So when you're watching it, you better cheer for Buzz and Woody flying. That's that's a must. That is a must for every single time you watch this movie. It's just so much fun. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I almost said watching, but I mean, if you're watching on the YouTube, you know, or listening, or whatever, thank you. And yeah, I'm thinking about doing some more Pixar movies. Obviously, not all of them. Like, I'll give an example. Like Incredibles 2, I'm not really. I like it, but it's just, you know, I'd rather just do The Incredibles rather than, you know, The Incredibles 2. And then older movies like, I mean, some of the newer movies like Luca and some of the other ones as well. Like, I just, you know, they are Pixar, but I just don't feel like they're hitting the same as like the old ones. So I kind of feel like a little pushed off to kind of do it or like maybe sort of review them or talk about them. Even though they could be really nice films, I just feel like it's, you know, you know, a little bit of pushback. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.